What's up, y'all? It's me again. Now, before I get into the review and analysis, I would first like to ask, if you haven't heard this album yet or are just planning on watching this to know what I think, please skip to this timestamp right here. I'll put it in the comments and in the description in the video, as this is one of the best albums I've heard all year. I highly recommend you listen to it before watching this video. It's only 22 minutes. It's really easy to find. You can listen to it for free on YouTube. Just please go listen to this album before you watch this video. That being said, let's begin. Before we start with the video, who on earth is MXmtoon? Is this even an artist? Sounds like a cartoon piracy website. If you thought this, well, you're wrong. MXmtoon, also known as Maya, was born on July 9th, the year 2000. She's an American singer and songwriter and social media personality from Oakland, California, known for singing and playing her ukulele. Her 2018 self-released EP titled Plum Blossom, recorded on her laptop in her parents' guest bedroom, has been streamed over 100 million times, according to Wikipedia. You definitely know about her, but you probably don't know about it yet. Ever hear this song?
I was hanging with you and then I realized I didn't think it was true. I was surprised when I found out I'd fallen for you.
What about this one?
I needed to stop and I want to be able to open up, but my feelings are fatal.
And how about this one?
I took the train, I took the call, I didn't know just where I'd fall or where it'd take me.
Okay, if none of those, definitely this one. Everyone has heard this masterpiece.
I'm sitting here crying in my prom dress. I'd be the prom queen if crying was a contest.
If none of those songs rang any bells or are anything that you've heard yet, have you ever heard of Taco Bell? Of course you have. It's the popular fast food chain in the US, founded in California by a man who goes by the name of Glenn Bell. Yes, that's his true name. If so, this is his daughter. Okay, no, not really. But she was in a commercial for the fast food chain.
Here's another challenge.
Dad, what are you doing?
I'm TikToking.
Order ahead and pick yours up at our contactless drive-thru.
What does any of this have to do with the album, Austin? Well, I'm glad you asked. About 2 years ago, I was in my sad boy hours phase, and I had discovered Falling For You for the first time. Immediately, I started listening to more of this singer's music, frequently, but not really religiously, to be honest. This new EP is one that I wasn't really anticipating, to be quite honest. I didn't know about its existence until about a couple minutes after it released on Spotify. I actually came across the album by mistake as I was on Spotify about to add a song, but then once I saw that she had released this EP, I saw the short runtime and anticipated listening to it the next day, as I had previously listened to and was a fan of 2 tracks that were on this EP that were released prior to the project. I loved Boney Bear along with Okay on Your Own. Now that I have seen all the visual additions on her YouTube channel along with listening to the songs themselves, I can confidently say that in my 2 years of on and off listening to MXmtoon, this has to be her best work yet, bar none. I wasn't a huge fan, honestly, of her last EP, Dawn, and while I enjoyed some of the songs on the project, most of the lyrics didn't really seem to match with the instrumentals that she used in the songs, as I prefer some of the acoustic versions to the songs like Fever Dream and 1-2 over their counterparts. This album never had any songs that felt out of place. This album at a whopping 22 minutes leaves a lot. The length felt perfect in what she was trying to communicate both narratively and musically. That was one of my biggest problems with Joji's Nectar. It felt like it kept going on and on and on about his heartbreak and sadness, and that by an hour, while I felt that I overall enjoyed that project, it really needed to trim some of the fat, and that would have helped the album become a lot better. You've got the first track on this EP titled Boney Bear after the famous musician, and I had strong feelings about this song before I had heard the album. But upon revisiting it, it seems like it has a lot more to offer than initially anticipated. It leaves a big impression in my mind when a song like this becomes overall much more purposeful and likable with revisits. The narrative of Maya being in a relationship throughout this pandemic is one that a lot of people who are currently in relationships may have had these past few months. And the first half of this EP is her essentially communicating and reminiscing of some of those happy moments that her and her partner had previously had. The next track, Okay on Your Own, is a beautiful communication piece where Maya essentially breaks off this relationship, giving her reasoning behind doing so, and it leaves a bit of a sad and bitter taste in our mouth as we listen to her go on throughout many reasons as to why she decided to end the relationship. After Boney Bear, it's clear that she wants to communicate a story with the listener and relate to the audience by beautifully singing along with her featurette, Carly Rae Jepsen, about an end of a relationship, while also trying to communicate that it's not the end, which can be left up to interpretation relationship-wise, with how she attempts to communicate this musically. The next track, titled Myrtle Avenue, while being my least favorite track, still holds a lot of purpose in this project. After she communicated that she needed time to herself with the previous track, she starts this one off by reminiscing once again about when she first met her soon-to-be ex. The track communicates this classic "it's not you, it's me" trope that we all have heard before, but with its instrumentals along with her vocal work, it brings a newer sound to it and overall adds a lot of emotion and context to an already interesting and beautiful project. The next song is titled Wallflower, and this song, while being my second favorite on the EP, is definitely the one that has stuck with me the most out of all the tracks on this EP. The haunting and depressing sounds of the piano at the beginning give us a feel as to how the rest of the song will persist. She begins the song with admitting that a part of her wants to be alone and to start fresh. She repeats the lines, "I don't want to stand out," to communicate how affected she is with the state she's in regarding the relationship. Then finally, we get a moment where she reveals the state that she was in with the relationship by finally asking, "Why should I go out and change what I'm supposed to be?" She wants to start fresh and be who she was all along, which can be left up to interpretation of what that is, but that in the process of doing so, she wouldn't want to stand out. Her next track is titled Asking for a Friend as a response. In this song, she, asks for a friend, simple enough, and communicated many times in songs for years. However, she specifically asks of a friend to hold on to her, but not one that would commit to anything. She's dealing with the end of a previous relationship, and at the moment she desires someone to be there for her, but not at all romantically. While the lyrics are a bit repetitive in nature, what really makes the song so good are once again her beautiful, beautiful instrumentals along with her vocal work, as she adds so much emotion and sincerity to what she is singing. But none of that is as present and effective as it is in the next song titled Show and Tell. This song starts off basic enough with the ukulele, but she quickly communicated her mental state in the world we currently live in, along with having to deal with the end of a relationship all on top of that. She not only explicitly says that she is going insane, but she begs for someone to help her. The way she says the word please after the sentence just adds so much emotion to the overall dark tone with the rest of the song. She communicates that she wants things to go back to normal, as we all do. Her communication of the unfairness with all going on, along with her vocal performance, makes it seem like she's almost on the verge of tears trying to sing about something so personal to her. She goes on to mention that she's been getting by all on her own, but that as the mornings go by, it gets harder to try and wake up every morning. During the final moments of the song, once she repeats the chorus for one last time, when she says the line, "and we're having sleepless nights," you can hear the shake of her inhale as it sounds like she's attempting to hold back tears as she's singing. Her ability to subtly convey this much emotion throughout the album really struck to me as phenomenal. Then, finally, we have the last and seventh track, which may be my favorite track on the entire project, ironically titled First. Her opening lines are her final thoughts on how she viewed the relationship and how an end to it felt to be the most necessary approach to take. She references her past songs and her past projects about her desires to be in relationships, and now that she's found that and has had that, she decides it wasn't really all for her. That all the hype wasn't all worth it despite her not having any regrets about the relationship. She communicated her thankfulness for her partner's devotion towards her, and while it wasn't easy, she's happy that it happened at all, as she learned a lot about herself in the process, which is overall the real main goal with having relationships with people. This desire to share a romantic connection with someone and to also better find yourself as a person is why most people even get to relationships in the first place. That's exactly the kind of closure that she gives us here on this track. It's one that feels bittersweet yet satisfying all at once, and it's definitely my favorite track upon revisiting and analyzing it to the extent that I did. I am overall so amazed with this entire project, to say the least. I've never listened to an album and loved it so much that I carefully revisit and analyze it all within a day. The beautiful, somber yet sweet tone to the entire project, along with the instrumentals and the vocals performed by Maya, are what make this such a special album to me. I feel that a lot of what is being said on this album about making sacrifices to better find yourself as a person, along with communicating the hardships that come along with the process, made for a very impactful listening experience for me. I have either felt or currently feel most of what was communicated into this EP, and it is so far my favorite album of the year. I am so proud of MXmtoon for allowing this album to be one that's so vulnerable yet so liberating, as it's an album that can definitely help a lot of people with certain problems as we continue to battle this pandemic, and even with relationships going on during this pandemic. I was beautifully surprised, and I cannot wait to see what she comes up with next. Really, where do you go once you reach this high? The answer to that is only time will tell. I'm giving this album a high 9 out of 10.
I need some time.